Well, I think it's across the board. When it comes to trade, there is huge demand for imports in Africa. This means a lot to do with consumer imports. It might be food, it might be consumer goods, it might be mobile phones. So a vast demand there, billions and billions of dollars or hundreds of billions of dollars a year. But I think also there's a huge demand for export finance as well. There are a lot of industries in Africa, not just about commodities, but also increasingly certain kinds of manufactured or semi-processed goods, which really require financing and expertise from outside. So I think with both sides of the flow, there is huge opportunity in Africa. Well, I think it's a question of Africa getting a whole number of partners. There's always a danger if you just have one or two partners. And we've seen that, for example, in some of the Francophone countries where predominantly the partner is France or a French development institution. The same for some Anglophone countries that look very much towards the UK or towards the USA. So you need a mix of partners. And this is where we can see mixture between Chinese investment, UK investment, EU investment. All of that put together can actually deliver the result. Particularly if we're looking at big infrastructure projects where there might be $50 billion or up to $100 billion. A lot of the infrastructure projects that work are cross-border. They're, let's say, a port which is linked to a railway and a road going across a number of borders and creating, if you like, a value chain. The question about, first of all, the sustainability of the debt which has been taken on for this construction, and also one or two questions about the quality of the infrastructure. Particularly some of the buildings and roads built in Angola, for example, have not stood the test of time over the last 5 to 10 years. But we're seeing a change, and this was announced by the Chinese government when they actually upped their latest financing available to Africa. They said very clearly there will be more transparency, there will be much closer viewing of the projects to decide whether they actually can bring value, whether they are sustainable in the long term. So I think we got from our panel debate there that ultimately there are pros and cons. There is improvement going on with Chinese financing. But I think the flip side is to recognize for many African governments, there was no other alternative. There was no one else offering financing. So are we really right to criticize them for not taking it? In many cases, they needed this infrastructure.